Oh, you got it.
And you're good to go.
This is about groundbreakers and risk takers, disruptors and trailblazers, the people, products, and companies that are driving change in our industry. This is Securit's Agents of Change.
Going to the rifle range is both fun and important in maintaining firearms proficiency. Today we're going to meet Aaron Mahalik and John Phillips. They've developed a new innovative targeting system that will have you rethink steel targets. But first, I'm off to Savannah, Georgia to take a look at the LyteHorse, a radical new stand-up ATV. Electric technology in vehicles is coming quick. Every car manufacturer is making new electric cars. And with this new technology comes new opportunities for those willing to think outside the box, for those willing to push the envelope. You're going to see electric boats, electric ATVs coming to a lake and a trail near you. But I didn't see this coming. Alan.
Hey, Tom.
This thing is incredible.
This is the LyteHorse.
This is the LyteHorse. Now, it's called LyteHorse. The name meaning what?
Well, it's the modern day interpretation, in my estimation, of the horse, which has been around for a couple thousand years, moving people and utility around. And we wanted to make something that was honoring to that tradition. And so this is the electric version of that. And it comes with features that really make you feel like you're on a horse, with the height advantage, the perspective that you gain if you're trail riding by standing on the top deck, and the utility. It carries a lot, it pulls a lot, and it can do pretty much everything the horse can do, except you don't need a shovel.
And I noticed when you pulled up, there was no sound until you applied the brakes. I could hear the grass under the wheels.
Yep.
But this, for out in the...
Yeah, dead silent and no emissions. So that's the beauty of it being out in the wilderness and all kinds of use cases, indoors and outdoors. It really fits the bill because it doesn't intrude on the environment in any way.
I mean, there's a lot of tech in this thing.
There is.
So walk me through the drivetrain of how this works.
So first of all, there is no drivetrain. So that's the cool part. Each wheel has its own individual motor.
Okay.
3,000 watts, so 12,000 watts combined. The thing is a beast. What that does for the machine is it really was designed from the ground up to be an electric off-road vehicle. So it doesn't have the pitfalls of the traditional drivetrain, so there's fewer moving parts. There's nothing really to break in a drivetrain. So if you're on a standard typical quad, for example, and you throw a bearing out in the bush, you're walking home.
Right.
The LyteHorse doesn't have any of those. In fact, it's got so few moving parts that there is zero scheduled maintenance on the machine. You don't have to do
There's no maintenance.
All you do is check the air and the tires once in a while and plug it in at night.
So is there a motor at each wheel?
There is, yep. Each wheel has its own motor, which helps contribute to the low center of gravity of the machine.
Okay.
So when you add the motor weight, which is about 45 pounds in each corner, then you add the wheel and the tire, which is about another combined 30 pounds. Center of gravity is really, really low. And then add the battery packs, which are underneath that top deck there. And each pack is 40 pounds. So really low center of gravity. And then when the rider, I don't know if you noticed, but I was standing on these footboards when I arrived.
It pushes it.
And that really, again, lowers your center of gravity.
Because it looks, I mean, when I first saw this, it looked top, holy cow. You couldn't tip that over if you wanted to.
It's very difficult. And one of the contributing factors to that is the offset wheels. You may not be able to see it from the camera angle, but the rear wheels are narrower by 10 inches than the front wheels. So the front wheels, think about it like outriggers on a canoe, if you will. Okay, it gives you the image, and it really enhances the stability. So combine that, makes it very challenging to tip it over. It's way more stable than a typical quad.
And what's the range? Like, it's electric, so what is the operating time?
Yeah, great question. So when it's kitted out with all 4 batteries, maximum of 4 in the LyteHorse, it will do about 80 miles, depending on terrain. Yeah, so way more than you'd ever ride off-road in a day, or probably even a couple of days.
Is it rated in horsepower, or would it be rated in watts? What's the power rating?
Well, it's rated in watts,
okay.
Which can be translated to horsepower and Newton meters. So the horsepower number is really low, but the torque is super high. So it actually has approaching the torque of an F-150 Ford pickup.
I'm thinking for hunting applications, you've got a a big game kill. This thing will
Yeah.
drag it out, no
Totally.
problem.
And you got a winch on the front to help if
Okay.
it's in a really tight spot.
So the motors are built right into the wheels.
Correct. Yep. So they're
Wow.
protected
Yeah.
by the wheel itself. And then you'll see that the brakes that we have on there are Willwood, which anybody into racing,
Oh, yeah.
off-road knows that Willwood's top of the food chain in terms of quality, brand quality.
This holds one person. Can you take 2 people on it?
Yeah, we can configure it with a jump seat rear facing, so you can carry an additional rider. So I know that bird watching is a big thing out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, husband and wife, a couple can go out and enjoy the day.
Now, as far as water, this thing will go in through.
So the motors are completely waterproof,
Right.
and we make our own batteries, Tom.
Okay.
So they are completely waterproof and now certified. So you can really submerge the machine up to the top of the wheels pretty much.
Wow.
That rear compartment is not completely waterproof yet, but it will be in future versions.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's, but still,
So,
for
yeah, for what it
hunting,
is,
for land use, you're
yeah.
not going to get your feet
No,
wet anyhow.
No, no.
So Alan, is it difficult to ride?
It couldn't be easier. The learning curve is literally about 5 seconds. Here's your brakes, where you would expect them to be very
Yep.
intuitive, and then a thumb throttle over there to utilize, and it's step on and step off. So there's nothing to straddle. You have nothing between your legs like you do on a typical quad. So the safety aspect of this is enhanced by that, because you can step off, jump off any way you want to if you get into trouble, which hopefully you don't, but if you do. Standing down low here really allows you to engage with the machine.
Okay.
That means you can, you know, really lean
This
into
is
the
if
corners.
you're horsing it around,
Yeah.
working it through terrain.
Yeah, totally, exactly.
Okay.
Or on a side hill, you can lean out. We've made this bar here so that you can grab on it and
Okay.
lean out like on a snowmobile.
It's almost more of an adventure vehicle at that point.
It is, yeah. You're very, very engaged with it standing up, which is great. So I know that a lot of people that I know that ride quads tend to stand up a lot.
You do. Your back
And-
gets sore.
Yeah,
Sitting,
your
I mean,
back
it's-
gets sore because you're hunched over,
Yep.
but you want that perspective. You want to see what's coming on the terrain. With the LyteHorse, if you want to see, you step up here, and now look how much taller I am
Yeah.
than you, right? So if I'm 5'10", I'm 7'3" standing on this deck.
Now I notice we've got a rifle case mounted on.
Yep.
Now I bow hunt, I rifle hunt. Are there other? Walk me
Yes.
through the accessories.
Yeah, so the accessories can be pretty much whatever you want them to be. So we can mount a bow case on the back just like that.
Okay.
This rack can be replaced by a heavy-duty, like Pelican-style box
Okay.
for storing, you know, things to keep them out of the weather. So that works great.
Now is this just a backrest, or does it have more function?
Yeah, so great question. So this is a backrest. So you'll notice it hits me in my butt if I stand on the top, okay? And it's very comfortable because it takes all the stress off your
Right.
lower legs and your lower back. And you can lean back into it and just comfortably ride. But it serves a greater purpose in that it's safe. Feels like you are really held securely if you're going up a hill.
Yeah.
Okay, really locks you in that position. If you're down on the footboards, then it catches you in the small of your back. And again, it feels very, very secure. And what this also does is it converts into a seat. So it separates right here in the middle. This part goes into the receiver, this flips up, and now you're sitting. So you have the best of both worlds if you just get tired and you want to sit for a while.
Well, I gotta get up and
Yeah.
try this thing out. So that's the, yeah, you know what? It takes the weight off your hands, because normally if I'm here,
Right.
you're gonna be burning
tense.
your arms. Yeah.
You mentioned the noise experience on a quad. So going into a hunting spot, this is brilliant because you don't scare the game away. You
Right,
can get
right.
right to your favorite hunting spot and literally arrive without disturbing any of the surrounding game like you would on a typical quad. And the other part though is the experience. So you're riding down your logging trail or forest trail, and you get to hear the wind in the trees, you get to hear the birds chirping. So that's a completely different experience than you're used to by riding on a quad.
Got to ask the question for the gearheads out there.
Yep.
Top speed?
Top speed is set to peak at 40 miles an hour.
All right, that's.
It's quick.
I gotta feel that's gotta feel really fast.
It does.
And it's stable.
Very stable.
Because some quads at 40 are
Yeah,
scary.
very, very, very stable. You'll find that once you're riding it at that speed, it feels like you can go faster.
And it looks like if you're out in the wilderness, you're gonna go over a log 8-10 inches in diameter without much trouble.
Yeah, you got about 9 inches of ground
it's not- okay,
clearance.
all right.
Yeah, so you
That's-
don't want to high center yourself.
Right.
But anything reasonable, it'll
And then
handle.
with the winch
no
on the
problem.
front, even if you got it up on a log, you're
Yep.
gonna pull yourself
That's
right
right.
out.
Yep. Well, you got to ride this thing, Tom.
Alan, I can't wait to get
Yeah,
on this thing.
yeah,
You can
jump
tell.
on it. Yeah. Get that helmet on, and you're good to go.
I tell you what, there's a lot more power here than I thought.
Yeah, then meets the eye, then you'd think for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, a lot of torque.
Alan, thank you so much for the opportunity. Guys, this Lighthorse is amazing. And truthfully, I think this is a game changer. If you've shot steel targets, you're aware of the possible dangers, bullet fragments and ricochets. Now there's a ricochet-free alternative, a self-sealing polymer target. We're here with Aaron and John from Throom, and these are the targets.
Yeah.
So I know there's an interesting history with the product. Can you walk us through it real quick?
My brother and I used to shoot in an old sand quarry up in Maine, and we have a business where we build machinery, formulating a lot of different polymers and stuff. So we used to bring material like this up there and use it for targets. And then eventually, kind of by chance, a friend of ours was having a problem with a steel target system he had. They were trying to move indoors in the winter, stuff like that. And he asked if we could develop a system that they could use at indoor range.
Now, a lot of shooters don't appreciate the danger of shooting at steel targets.
Yeah, it's hard to understand, right? That you can angle a steel target, you can do all sorts of things, but there's always something coming back. And we've done a lot of high-speed photography to try and illustrate it, but it's a difficult thing to get across. So
Ron, I've seen YouTube videos of guys shooting where their earphone gets hit, the hat gets blown off.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and it's hard to deny it, right? But it happens.
But this absolutely eliminates the chances of anything coming back.
Right. That was the whole idea, and we've really worked hard on that over the years to try and develop it.
Yeah, the
So-
idea is that they're totally shoot through. So
Right.
we want the bullet to actually pass through and go to your backstop or burn.
Into a collection.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, into a collection. You know, that's the idea, is that you can shoot closer than you can with steel targets and safely.
Yeah, you can take this from almost point blank.
Yeah, and we've done some videos, yeah,
Okay.
where we're an inch off the plate, you know, or so just to prove, you know, that you can really be up close. And the idea was to, you know, make a completely non-metal stand. You know, originally too, we were talking with police departments that were struggling to find training tools that were reactive. You could see something happen, but they could be up close and safe, you know, within that combat distance, right?
Everything, even the screws,
Yeah,
are made out of the material.
It's the material.
Is there a name for the material?
Well,
we call it shoot through.
Shoot
Yeah,
through,
that's
right.
like our brand name
Okay.
basically
Right.
for it. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that always surprises people, and when we go out and show them the targets for the first time, they're like, well, you can shoot the targets, but, you know, what about the base here?
Right.
What about this screw?
Right.
I mean, we will ask people to center shots, you know, right through the screw, the balance bolt, we call it, just to prove that you can. And it seals right back up, tiny little pinhole. It's not going to damage the system at all.
So this is it's a very durable polymer.
Yeah.
How many rounds can a target take?
Yeah, we rate them for 1,000 hits. We've tested the 6-inch and 8-inch plates up against, you know, 1,000 22s, 1,000 9mm, 1,045s. We have plates that have taken much more. You know, this one's been shot, and you can see the bullet holes in this plate
Right.
here. You know, tiny little pinholes. We have a 6-inch hang tough. Actually, it's got 18,000 hits right through it. And there's
18,000 rounds?
18,000 rounds of 22 LR right through it, and there's no breakage or anything. You can keep, just looks peppered,
Wow.
basically.
It's amazing. And even the stands, you've got, this is just basic 2x4s, which
Yeah.
really makes this a target system.
Right.
So all of it is made out of the same material.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, everything's same material. So targets, right? You got the bases, you've got the bolts, and then these guys really, like you said, make it a system.
So if bullets are going through here, it's not going to lose the strength.
We've actually jokingly nicknamed these the stick saver,
Okay.
because when you put holes through here, it actually will kind of hold the 2x4 together, and the bullet passes right through
Okay.
typically. So they do really well. We did a torture test on one of these. We drilled 500 9mm rounds right here into the corners. At 500 rounds, we kind of felt like we were wasting ammunition. So
So at
we
500
gave it up.
rounds, you would think a bullet would just tear this stuff apart, and it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's incredible. And what's really shocking, right, is you expect that a rifle round is really going to shred it, and actually the holes from a 223 are teensy pinholes. So you can shoot, I mean, when we say rated for 1,000 center fire, I mean, you're rated for tens of thousands of rifle rounds, actually.
So are these mainly used at, is it indoor ranges? Are they used all over?
Yeah, what's great about these, right, are that they're all weather safe, right? So they're great to have outside. You can leave them out in the snow. You can leave them out in extreme temperatures.
There's no corrosion.
Right, so yeah, they're not going to
No
rust,
corrosion,
obviously. There's no corrosion or anything like that. So they're rated to negative 25 degrees F. Well, we've tested them in negative 40, actually. But who wants to shoot in negative 40, right, degrees?
You're not going out anymore.
Yeah. And then all the way up to 125 F. So we've shot them out in the desert too, and they do really well. But the greatest part, right, is that you can have a reactive target system that you can bring indoors, right? And it's not going to damage your range or, anything like that.
No, and they're lightweight. I mean, if you're traveling with steel,
Oh, yeah.
it's the hardened steel is incredibly heavy.
This whole plate rack fits in a box 10 by 10 by 10.
Yeah.
And what does it weigh?
10 pounds.
10 pounds.
And
Yeah.
That's the
the
whole
setup time on this was what? About 5 minutes?
It's about
Maybe?
5 minutes, yeah. And once you have your crossbeam assembled, the entire system is really hardware free when it comes to
Correct.
the
And
stand.
so- yeah, right.
It slips together, and 7 times later than its steel counterparts. So
And it's
just
just
so
like-
easy to
Yes,
carry.
it's like a
Yeah,
it's like a Lego system.
It's like a Lego system.
Right.
very
yeah.
very simple, goes together.
Right, right.
Sponsored by Securit Tactical, the global leader in military weapon storage and armory design, and changing the way Americans think about firearm storage.
I love the green. Is there a reason you chose this color?
Yeah, Tom, we had a number of different candidates, and we got onto this green after a bit of development because it's a high visibility, right? And the idea is that not only outdoors like today in the sun, but when you move indoors in ranges, some are not lit that well, and we need the shooter to be able to see his target.
So even low light, sunlight,
low light,
it's very
sunlight.
visible.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, do you make targets for night applications?
Yeah, Tom, these targets are actually phosphorescent, so which
Okay.
means they'll actually glow under a black light.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of ranges to try to bring in more customers. They're adding things, right? Like that cosmic bowling, but for, right? You saw that pop up, right? And then all of a sudden you get more people, right? And so they're starting to add, black light applications. So the range to do like fun shoots, night shoots, and night simulations.
Guys, this is a really impressive system you put together. I brought my rifle.
Well, you brought a rifle. Let's go have some fun, Tom.
All right, let's go light them up. All right, so I've got 3-round mag filled up. Which ones am I taking?
Yeah, I'd probably start on the left and head across.
Boy, that drops them.
Yeah.
It does the trick, doesn't it? All right, range is hot. Wait a minute. How come the little one's on my side?
Yeah, I thought you'd enjoy having the chicken on your side. I'll take the
Nice.
turkey. You got it.
Hey guys, these things work. These Throom targets are absolutely what you say they are.
Wow, thanks, Tom. It was a lot of fun coming out and hanging out with you all day, Tom. It was a blast.
Yeah, and for the range, the distance we are, I mean, if we were shooting steel, I'm going like, guys, we're really close to this. And no issue at all, and we got the little bird.
We got the bird down.
We got the little bird down. All right, guys, thank you very much.
So, thanks for having us.
All right. And now it's time for TAC Tips with Gary Melton, former Green Beret, sniper team leader, and one of America's top firearms instructors.
Hey folks, Gary here with Paramount Tactical Solutions. So, I got the benefit of owning lots of different guns, but these guns right here are the guns that I pretty much use every single day. And, there's different brands, models, and they're configured different for different situations. But one thing they all have in common is they all have weapons mounted lights. Folks, if you don't have a light on your gun, you're prepared for less than 50% of the time that you're most likely to need that light. And, sure, they make tack lights like this, but all these really do is add complications to an already stressful situation. It's just another item that you got to manage, and it's very difficult to shoot well with this. And it takes one hand off the gun. And that's a real problem because you need both hands on that gun, especially under stress and especially under close encounter engagements. What's nice about a weapons mounted light is that, it's attached to your weapon. So when you pull the gun, you already have a light ready to go. You don't have to search in another pocket or anything like that. They're also very intuitive to use. They're meant to be used with gross motor skills. So even under stress, they're very easy to activate. Another benefit of a light is the fact that the weight of it is directly underneath the muzzle. So it helps with recoil a lot, and it greatly reduces muzzle flip. So it allows you to stay on target and will even help you shoot a little bit faster. I really like what they've done with these miniaturized but very capable lights they've designed for these subcompact guns. The little bit of bulk that this adds to this gun is completely outweighed by all the benefits that it brings. If you use the light correctly combined with proper movement techniques, a weapons mounted light gives you a huge tactical advantage against the threat. But the most important benefit of a weapons light is target identification. Folks, you have to be able to identify that target before you pull the trigger. And without a light, in many situations, you just can't do that. Every single year in this country, there are people that end up shooting family members and loved ones because they hear a bump in the night and then they're not able to properly identify the target. So folks, if you're carrying a gun, make sure that you have a light on it and make sure you get some training with it because you can't shoot what you can't see, or at least you shouldn't. And that's your tactical tip of the day. So until next time, stay armed, stay ready, and enjoy the rest of the show.
If you'd like more information, scan the QR code on your screen. You'll also have the opportunity to share information with us. We're always looking for new products and people to feature on the show.